You want to know about humans?
Fine. Sit down, close your feeding ports, and listen. Because what I am about to tell you will make every sensory organ you possess question reality itself. My name is Varkoth. I serve, or rather served, as third strategic analyst aboard the Kelvarii Empire's flagship, the Dominus Eternal. 20 cycles ago, my people were the apex predators of 7-star systems. We had conquered 14 species, absorbed their technologies, and crushed any resistance with methodical precision. Our military doctrine was flawless. Our weapons were unmatched. Our confidence was absolute. Then we met Marcus Webb. I still remember the day his vessel appeared in our occupied zone near the Theta 9 corridor. A single ship, small, primitive by our standards, barely capable of faster-than-light travel. Our sensors cataloged it immediately. One human male aboard, no weapon signatures, no defensive shields worth mentioning. The vessel was transmitting on every frequency known to civilized space, repeating the same message in 47 different languages. Greetings. I come representing Earth and humanity. We seek peaceful contact and mutual understanding. I am unarmed and request dialogue. Commander Threxus, may his bones rot in the void, laughed when the translation came through. Actually laughed. I had served under him for 8 cycles and never heard such a sound. He turned to me, his tertiary eyes gleaming with amusement. An unarmed diplomat, he said, mandibles clicking. These humans are either incredibly naive or supremely arrogant. Either way, they need to learn their place. I advised caution. My analysis of their limited transmissions suggested a species with significant industrial capacity, but Threxus waved away my concerns with one armored claw. They sent one ship, Varkoth. One single diplomat, that tells us everything we need to know about their threat level. Marcus Webb's ship drifted closer, still broadcasting peaceful intentions. Our tactical teams tracked every millimeter of its approach. The human requested permission to dock, to meet face to face, to establish what he called friendly relations between our peoples. Threxus granted permission. Then he ordered Security Team Gamma to the docking bay. I watched through the surveillance feeds as the human small craft connected to our station. The airlock cycled, and Marcus Webb stepped into Kelvarii space. He was tall for his species, according to our database. Dark skin, close-cropped hair going gray at the temples, wearing some kind of formal suit in navy blue with a symbol on his chest, a flag. We learned later. The flag of his homeworld. He carried a single case in his left hand, and wore the most disarmingly genuine smile I have ever witnessed on any carbon-based life form. "Hello," he said in flawless Kelvarii standard, which surprised everyone monitoring the feed. "My name is Marcus Webb. I am honored to be the first human to meet your magnificent species. I bring gifts of art, music, and samples of Earth culture as tokens of friendship." He took exactly 3 steps into the docking bay. Then Threxus gave the order. Fire. 12 plasma bolts struck Marcus Webb simultaneously. The human's body jerked, that smile frozen in shock, incomprehension flooding his features. The case fell from his hand, spilling its contents across the deck. Small data crystals, drawings made by human children, a bottle of something called wine. The security team kept firing until there was nothing left but ash and the smell of burned organic matter. Silence filled the command center. I stared at the screen, my breathing apparatus working overtime. Finally, I found my voice. "Commander?" He was unarmed. He came in peace. Threxus turned to me, completely unbothered. "Exactly, which means his species is weak. We have just sent them a clear message about the Galactic Order. Perhaps next time they will approach with proper submission. Or," I whispered, though no one heard me, "perhaps they will approach differently." We sent Marcus Webb's ship back toward human space, empty, scorched by our weapons. A warning, a statement of dominance. Threxus composed a message to accompany it, demanding Earth's immediate surrender and tribute. He was already planning the invasion, calculating resource extraction rates, discussing how human slaves might be utilized in the outer colonies. 3 days passed, then 6, then 10. On the 11th day, our long-range sensors detected something. A ship. No, wait, multiple ships. Actually, correction, a fleet. 87 vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of our occupied zone. They were different from Marcus Webb's diplomatic craft, larger, angular, covered in what looked like armor plating, and they were not broadcasting messages of peace. They were broadcasting one word, repeated across every channel. Webb. Just that. His name. Over and over. Threxus scrambled every available ship. 43 Kelvarii warships moved to intercept. Our forces had crushed entire civilizations. Our plasma cannons could vaporize asteroids. Our shields could withstand direct hits from nuclear weapons. We outnumbered them. We had superior positioning. Setting. We were completely unprepared for what happened next. The humans opened fire first. Their weapons were not plasma-based or laser-focused or anything our databases recognized. They fired solid projectiles, metal slugs propelled by chemical reactions, primitive according to our initial assessment, laughably outdated technology that belonged in museums, Except these projectiles moved at velocities that made our sensors malfunction. They punched through our shields, like they were not even there. The first 3 Kelvarii ships simply ceased to exist, shattered into fragments before they could return fire. The human vessels moved with impossible precision, their formation adapting to our tactics faster than our battle computers could calculate responses. Evasive maneuvers, Threxus screamed, his composure finally cracking. All ships, evasive maneuvers. But the humans had already anticipated every move. It was like they knew what we would do before we did it. Their weapons tracked our vessels with perfect accuracy. More ships exploded. I watched in horror as the pride of Kelvar, a dreadnought that had led the conquest of the Prothean system, split in half under a sustained barrage from just 2 human cruisers. Then something else appeared on our sensors. A massive vessel, larger than anything in the human fleet. It had been hanging back, but now it moved forward, heading directly toward the Dominus Eternal. Incoming transmission, our communications officer announced, voice trembling. Put it through, Threxus ordered. The main view screen flickered, and there she was. Admiral Elena Vasquez of the United Earth Defense Force. She was shorter than Marcus Webb had been, with steel gray hair pulled back severely, wearing a uniform the color of midnight. But her eyes. Oh, her eyes contained something I had never seen in any species we had conquered. Not fear, not submission. Pure, distilled rage. I am Admiral Vasquez, she said quietly, her voice steady as a neutron star's gravity. Marcus Webb was my friend. He was a father of 3, a grandfather of 5. He loved jazz music and terrible jokes and believed with his entire soul that the universe was big enough for all of us to coexist peacefully. She paused, and I swear the temperature in our command center dropped. You murdered him for trying to shake your hand. Threxus tried to respond, tried to make demands, tried to assert dominance, but Vasquez kept talking, her words cutting through his bluster like monomolecular blades. So let me explain something about humanity that Marcus would have told you, if you had given him the chance. Sarah, we are not a warrior species by nature. We prefer peace. We prefer cooperation. We would rather build than destroy. But, and please understand this clearly, when you hurt us, when you take someone we love, we remember, and we do not forgive. You cannot defeat the Kelvarii Empire, Threxus shouted. Cheer. We have conquered 14 species. Our military might is, Vasquez interrupted, was unmatched. Past tense, because in the 27 days since you killed Marcus Webb, we analyzed every byte of data from his ship's black box. We studied your weapons, your tactics, your psychology, your entire civilization, and we designed this fleet specifically to end you. The human ships opened fire again. Not at our vessels this time, at our stations, our supply depots, our communication relays, everything that kept our occupation running. They were not just attacking, they were systematically dismantling our entire military infrastructure in this sector. Fall back, Threxus ordered. All ships fall back to the Dominus. But there was nowhere to fall back to. The humans had surrounded us, and that massive flagship, Vasquez's ship, was still approaching. You have one chance, Vasquez said. Withdraw from every system you have occupied. Release every species you have enslaved. Surrender your war fleet, or I will personally ensure that the Kelvarii Empire becomes a cautionary tale told to frighten children across the galaxy. Threxus looked at me, his confidence shattered. This is impossible. How could they? They are human, I said quietly. We should have listened to Marcus Webb. The commander did what any cornered predator does.
He made the worst possible decision.
He ordered all ships to converge on the human flagship. A suicide charge. One last desperate attempt to show strength. The human response was immediate and overwhelming. Their weapons fire intensified. Our shields collapsed. Hull breaches erupted across the Dominus Eternal. I watched my crewmates get sucked into space, their bodies freezing instantly in the void. And then something extraordinary happened. The human weapons stopped firing at us, not at the other ships, just at the Dominus. Vasquez's voice came through again. "Attention, Dominus crew. Well, this is your only warning. Abandon ship immediately. You have 5 minutes. Anyone still aboard after that will be considered a hostile combatant." Threxus refused to move. "This is a trick. They want us vulnerable." "Commander," I said, pulling up my evacuation protocol. "They could have destroyed us already. They are giving us a choice, something we never gave Marcus Webb." "I will not," Threxus began. I never heard the rest. Because I had already sealed the command deck and ejected every escape pod I could access. Let me be clear about something. I am not a coward.
Oh.
But I am also not an idiot. The humans had demonstrated overwhelming tactical superiority.
Ho.
They had given us a chance to survive.
Ho. The scaredsters.
As for Teal, I took it. 342 crew members made it to escape pods. Threxus and his loyal cadre of 17 officers stayed aboard, still believing in Kelvarii invincibility right up until the moment the human flagship fired one single massive projectile that turned the Dominus Eternal into an expanding cloud of superheated plasma. The battle ended 12 minutes later. Of the 43 Kelvarii ships that had engaged the human fleet, exactly 0 remained operational. The humans had lost 3 vessels. 3. And those were damaged, not destroyed. Their crews evacuated safely before the ships were scuttled. Our escape pods were tractored in by human rescue ships. I expected execution, halter dead, the kind of treatment we had inflicted on conquered species. Instead, we received medical attention, halters, that were honestly more comfortable than our own barracks. I met Admiral Vasquez in person 2 days later. She came to the holding area where Kelvarii survivors were being processed, walked right up to my containment cell and looked at me through the transparent barrier. "You are Varkoth," she said. "Not a question." "I am. Our intelligence analysis of the battle footage shows you were advising caution. You tried to warn your commander." I said nothing. What could I say? Vasquez continued. Marcus Webb believed in second chances.
He believed that most conflicts stem from misunderstanding, not malice. So I am going to honor his memory by giving you a choice.
She leaned closer, her expression hard but not cruel. "You can return to what remains of the Kelvarii Empire, and tell them what happened here. Tell them what we are capable of when pushed. Tell them that humanity will accept peace, but we will not tolerate aggression. Tell them Marcus Webb came offering friendship and your people answered with murder." "And if I do this?" I asked. "Then maybe, someday our species can try again. The right way, the way Marcus wanted. And if I refuse?" Vasquez smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Then you stay here as a guest until this war ends, however long that takes." The choice was obvious. I returned home 3 weeks later, on a human transport ship that dropped me at the edge of Kelvarii space. I carried with me detailed records of the battle, footage of the human fleet's capabilities, and a message from Admiral Vasquez to the Kelvarii High Command. The message was simple: "Halt that again, and next time we will not be so merciful." When I presented my report to the High Command, there was chaos, outrage, demands for immediate retaliation. But then the evidence played. The footage of our ships being obliterated, the tactical analysis showing how thoroughly the humans had outmaneuvered us, the cold, hard fact that they had defeated our military forces in minutes. The High Command eventually made the only logical decision: full withdrawal from occupied territories, reparations to conquered species, a formal apology to Earth, though no words could bring back Marcus Webb. That was 20 cycles ago. Today, the Kelvarii Empire is a shadow of its former self. We are no longer conquerors. We are merchants, traders trying to rebuild our reputation in a galaxy that now knows we can be beaten. It was 20 cycles ago. And humanity? They continued expanding peacefully, making alliances, sharing technology, doing exactly what Marcus Webb had come to do that day before Threxus murdered him. But every human ship I see, every human diplomat I meet, I notice the same thing. They are always polite, always professional, always ready to negotiate. But they also always remember Marcus Webb. And they want the universe to remember too. To remember that humans came in peace first, that they offered friendship before fury. So yes, you asked about humans. Now you know, they are not the strongest species, not the most technologically advanced, not the most numerous. But they are the ones who will cross entire star systems to avenge a single murdered grandfather who just wanted to say hello. Make of that what you will. But the story does not end there. Oh no, because humans, as I have learned in the cycles since that devastating encounter, possess something far more terrifying than military might. They possess memory, and patience, and a peculiar sense of justice that makes my exoskeleton itch just thinking about it. Let me tell you what happened after the war ended, because this is where things get truly unsettling. The Kelvarii High Command agreed to all human terms. We withdrew from occupied systems. We freed the enslaved species. We paid reparations that bankrupted half our colonial economy. We thought naively that this would satisfy humanity's thirst for retribution. We thought the debt was paid. We were so very wrong. 6 cycles after the war ended, I received a communication on my personal terminal. No identification signature, just a message that appeared on my screen during my sleeping period, glowing in the darkness of my quarters. Hello Varkoth, we need to talk. Central Plaza, tomorrow, at midday, come alone. Bring your conscience. My conscience? What kind of cryptic human nonsense was that? But something in the message's tone, casual yet firm, made me comply. I told no one. I simply went. The central plaza of our capital world, Kelvos Prime, is a massive open space where thousands gather for commerce and social interaction. I stood near the fountain of ancestors feeling exposed and foolish when I heard a voice behind me. Thanks for coming. I spun around, reaching instinctively for a weapon I no longer carried. Standing 3 paces away was a human male, mid-30s perhaps, wearing civilian clothes and a jacket with too many pockets. He had sandy brown hair, green eyes, and a face that seemed designed for smiling, though he was not smiling now. Who are you? I demanded, keeping my voice low. Name's Tommy Grant. I work for a branch of Earth's government that does not officially exist. We handle loose ends, unfinished business, the things that keep people awake at night, wondering if justice was really served. The war is over. Your people won. What more do you want? Tommy looked around the plaza, watching Kelvarii citizens going about their daily lives, completely unaware that a human agent stood among them. Then he pulled out a small datapad and handed it to me. Recognize anyone? I looked at the screen. Faces, dozens of them, all Kelvarii, all former military personnel. And then I recognized one, all Threx's second in command. Dracus, another face, the gunnery officer who actually fired the shots that killed Marcus Webb. More faces. Security team, Gamma, officers who had celebrated the murder. These individuals were aboard the Dominus Eternal during the incident, Tommy said quietly. But according to your evacuation records, 17 of them survived. They ejected in pods we did not recover. They disappeared into Kelvarii civilian population using false identities. My breathing apparatus constricted. That was cycles ago. Why does this matter now? Tommy's expression hardened. Because Marcus Webb's daughter, Lisa, just turned 18. She asked me personally to find every single being responsible for killing her father. So that is what I am doing. Your Admiral Vasquez said humanity would accept peace. We do accept peace. But peace does not mean forgetting. It does not mean letting murderers hide behind bureaucracy and time. Marcus Webb came in peace. Your people murdered him. Your government paid reparations. But these 17 individuals, he tapped the datapad. They never faced consequences. That ends now. I felt something close to fear, which is not an emotion Kelvarii typically experience. What do you want from me? Information. You were third strategic analyst. You had access to personnel files, escape pod trajectories, everything. I have already tracked down 9 of them. I need help finding the other 8. And if I refuse? Tommy shrugged. Then I do it the hard way, which means more collateral damage, more disruption, more Kelvarii civilians asking uncomfortable questions about why a human operative is digging through their government records. Or you help me, we do this quietly, and only the guilty face justice. I should have refused. Loyalty to my species should have demanded refusal. But I remembered Marcus Webb's smile. I remembered Threxus's laughter. I remembered advising caution and being ignored. What kind of justice? I asked. The legal kind. Extradition, war crimes tribunal, fair trial. Everything Marcus never got. That surprised me. Not execution, not revenge. Tommy's jaw tightened. We are not you. We do not murder diplomats. We do things properly. Even when it is harder. Even when every cell in our bodies wants something darker. That is what makes us different. So I helped him. Over the next 3 cycles I provided access codes, personnel files, last known locations. Tommy worked with terrifying efficiency, always staying ahead of Kelvarii security services, always knowing exactly where to look. One by one, the conspirators were located, arrested, transported to Earth for trial. Dracus was living under the name Velcron, working as a shipping coordinator. Hold. Extradition. Lost. Hold. The trial lasted 42 days. Evidence was presented. Testimony given. He was sentenced to 30 cycles imprisonment under Earth jurisdiction, with possibility of parole. After 20. The gunnery officer Skelix had fled to a mining colony on the outer rim. Tommy found him anyway. Same process.
Arrest.
Trial. Conviction. Arrest. Trial. Conviction. Every single one of them faced the same fate. Not death, not torture, just cold, methodical legal accountability. Humanity's revenge was justice, and somehow that was more terrifying than any violent retaliation could have been. But then something unexpected happened during the trial of the 14th conspirator, a logistics officer named Praxis who had helped plan the ambush. Lisa Webb testified. I watched the trial broadcast, unable to look away. She stood before the Galactic court, this young human woman with her father's eyes, and spoke about growing up without him, about the hole his death left in her family, about her mother's grief, her siblings' anger. That's at Quarkak. But the Nazor had bed the Shoy. Her grandchildren who would never meet their great-grandfather. But I am not here for revenge, she said, her voice steady despite visible tears. I am here because my father believed in justice.
In proper procedures.
In giving everyone a fair chance. He would not want me to become bitter. He would want me to ensure this never happens to anyone else.
Lanas.
Isigwisadweshini now. Wadius kistosoiras haumeng. Then she did something that made every being in that courtroom, including me watching from across the galaxy, question everything they knew about humanity. She looked directly at Praxis and said, I forgive you. The courtroom erupted in chaos. Even Praxis seemed shocked, his mandibles hanging open in disbelief. Lisa continued, I forgive you because hate is a burden I refuse to carry, but forgiveness does not mean freedom from consequences. You still did what you did, you still need to answer for it. I just want you to know that I will not let your actions poison the rest of my life. My father came in peace. He would want peace to continue. Even now. Praxis was convicted anyway. Sentenced. Imprisoned. But something changed in him during those proceedings. I saw it in his testimony later. His genuine remorse, his complete psychological breakdown as he confronted what he had actually done, not to an abstract enemy, to a grandfather who loved jazz music and terrible jokes. That was 8 cycles ago. Today, all 17 conspirators are imprisoned on Earth, serving their sentences under conditions that, according to independent inspectors, meet every standard of ethical incarceration. They receive medical care, education opportunities, regular communication with family, everything that civilized justice demands. Meanwhile, humanity continued its expansion through the galaxy, but with a reputation now. Hulth. Other species learned the lesson Kelvarii learned the hard way. Hulth. Barry, you can negotiate with humans, trade with them, befriend them. They are generous allies, patient diplomats, creative problem solvers. But if you hurt them, if you murder their people when they come in peace, they will remember. They will find you. And they will ensure you face consequences, even if it takes decades, even if it requires crossing half the galaxy, even if the entire universe tries to forget. I see Tommy Grant occasionally. He visits Kelvo's Prime every few cycles, checking on leads, maintaining contacts. We have developed something humans call friendship, though I am still not entirely certain I understand the concept. He brings me coffee from Earth, a beverage I have grown fond of despite its bitter taste. During his last visit, we sat in my quarters overlooking the city, and I asked him something that had been troubling me. Why did you really pursue those conspirators? The war was over. Your people had won. Why spend cycles hunting down relatively minor participants? Tommy was quiet for a long moment, staring at his coffee cup. Then he said, because if we let it go, If we said the past is past and moved on, what message does that send? That human lives only matter when it is convenient? That you can murder our diplomats as long as you hide well enough afterwards? No. Every life matters. Marcus Webb mattered, and the universe needed to learn that humanity protects its own, even in death. But Lisa Webb forgave them. Forgiveness is personal. Justice is societal. All she can forgive and we can still prosecute. Both things can be true. That is the complexity of being human. I considered this. Then I asked the question that had haunted me since that terrible day. If you could go back, knowing what you know now, would you still send Marcus Webb to meet us? Tommy smiled sadly. In a heartbeat. Because the alternative is assuming the worst about everyone, living in fear, never taking chances. Marcus believed the universe was fundamentally good, that most conflicts come from misunderstanding. He was not naive. He knew the risks. He just believed some things were worth risking everything for. Peace. Peace. We sat in silence after that, watching the sun set over Kelvo's prime, two beings from species that had been at war, now sharing coffee and conversation. It was, I realized, exactly what Marcus Webb would have wanted. But here is the thing humans do not advertise. The thing I have learned through careful observation and quiet conversations. They are preparing, always preparing. Their military has not shrunk since the war. It has grown. New technologies, new weapons, new defensive networks spanning dozens of systems. I asked Tommy about this once, and his answer chilled me. We gave the galaxy a chance for peace. Most species accepted it, but we also learned that the universe contains predators who only understand strength, so we maintain that strength, not to conquer, not to dominate, but to ensure that what happened to Marcus Webb never happens to another human diplomat, or anyone else's diplomat for that matter. You have become the galaxy's protectors. We became what the galaxy needed, whether it wanted us to or not. And that, I think, is the real terror of humanity. Him, offering peace. When peace was rejected, they brought fury, and now they maintain the capacity for both, switching between them with frightening ease depending on what the situation demands. I have watched human peacekeepers defend Kelvarii colonies from pirate raids. The same species we tried to demonstrate dominance over now protects us. The irony is not lost on anyone involved. Lisa Webb, by the way, became a diplomat herself. Following in her father's footsteps, I met her once, at a Galactic conference on trade regulations. She recognized my name tag, approached me directly. You are Varkoth, the one who helped Tommy find the conspirators. I am truly sorry for what happened to your father. She studied me with those eyes, so like Marcus Webb's. Are you sorry it happened, or sorry you got caught? The question struck like a plasma bolt. I considered lying, offering diplomatic platitudes, but something about her direct gaze demanded honesty. Both, I admitted. I am sorry. Marcus Webb died. He did not deserve that fate, but I am also sorry my people revealed ourselves to be so barbaric. We thought we were strong. We were just cruel. Lisa nodded slowly. Thank you for your honesty. That means more than empty apologies. Your father would have made a difference if he had lived.
He did make a difference, just not the way he intended.
His death taught the galaxy a lesson about humanity. Maybe that was his purpose all along. She walked away after that, leaving me standing alone with my thoughts and my regrets. The cycles have passed. The Kelvarii Empire continues its slow redemption arc, trying to rebuild reputation and relationships. We are no longer conquerors. We are barely even relevant on the galactic stage anymore. Humanity, meanwhile, has established peaceful relations with 43 species. They share technology, provide humanitarian aid, mediate disputes. But every human ship still carries weapons. Every human colony maintains defense systems. Every human diplomat travels with security details that could fight off small armies. They came in peace. We taught them they needed to prepare for war. And now they do both simultaneously, a duality that makes them perhaps the most formidable species in known space. I am old now by Kelvarii standards. My exoskeleton has faded from vibrant blue to dull gray. My memories grow hazy at the edges, but I will never forget Marcus Webb's smile, or the fury in Admiral Vasquez's eyes, or the quiet determination in Tommy Grant's voice, or the forgiveness in Lisa Webb's testimony. Humans ask a question when they meet new species now. A simple question that carries immense weight. Have you heard about Marcus Webb? If the answer is no, they tell the story. Every detail, the peaceful approach, the murder, the response, the justice that followed. It has become their foundational narrative, the story they use to explain themselves to the galaxy. If the answer is yes, they simply nod and say, then you understand who we are. And everyone does understand. The message is clear. Humanity will always choose peace first. But if you mistake that preference for weakness, if you respond to extended hands with violence, they will show you exactly what humans are capable of when protecting their own. So yes,
You wanted to know about humans. You wanted to understand what makes them different.
now you know the complete story. Marcus Webb came in peace.
We shot him.
He came back, through his daughter, through his people, through the fury of a species that refuses to forget its dead. And the galaxy learned a lesson written in plasma fire and courtroom testimony. A lesson that echoes across every system where humans travel. Hurt them and they will remember. Cross them, and they will respond. Murder their peacemakers, and they will ensure justice finds you no matter how long it takes, no matter where you hide, no matter how much time passes. They are not the strongest species, not the most advanced, not the most numerous. But they are the ones who turned one man's death into a promise to the entire galaxy. A promise of peace for those who accept it, and consequences for those who do not. Make of that what you will. I certainly have. Every day I wake up and see human ships patrolling our space, protecting us from the very aggression we once embodied. Every day I remember that we could have had Marcus Webb as a friend, a bridge between species, a voice for understanding. Instead, we have his legacy, his fury made manifest through military might tempered by legal justice, his peace offered from behind defensive positions that could annihilate anyone foolish enough to reject it. Tommy Grant told me once that humans have a saying, walk softly and carry a big stick. But I did not understand it then. I do now. Marcus Webb walked softly, carried nothing but hope and cultural gifts. Humanity learned from his death. Now they still walk softly, still offer peace first, still extend hands in friendship. But they also carry the biggest stick in the known galaxy, and they are not afraid to use it. That is who humans are. That is what we created when we murdered Marcus Webb. We wanted to prove our dominance. Instead, we awakened something far more dangerous than any conqueror. We awakened humanity's protective fury. And the galaxy will remember that lesson for generations to come. Just as humans remember Marcus Webb. Forever.